So this is the finished product. This is the kitchen. This is the wall that I showed you. So we kind of consider that part of the kitchen, even though it's separate from the kitchen because it's the dining area. This is the whole thing here. This really made a huge difference, you know, the industrial look. We did the vents, just the modern feel in general. Now that you've seen the after and the completed product, here's the before. This is what it looked like when we bought the house. We made some small changes such as wall color, ceiling color, better lighting, a couple other things. But for the most part, this is what the kitchen looked like when it was empty when we started the construction process. We never liked the enclosed feeling of the kitchen, but we knew it was going to be a huge undertaking to remove the walls that had to be removed. So you'll see the arrow that points to the first wall that was removed. That's now all open to the family room area. And then you're going to see the second remove. That was actually a load-bearing wall, so that was a huge undertaking to get that removed. Right here, this is just another view. Again, that far wall was taken out. The kitchen layout stayed primarily the same. What you're going to notice is we moved the refrigerator. So where the old fridge was, there's now a new pantry. Ovens and things were in essentially the same location. So really, the layout stayed the same, but we did a lot of other work. Somewhere between that before picture and the picture you see right now, where demolition has started, you need to decide what are the questions you need to ask yourself before you begin this remodel, because the last thing you want to do is to end up with a house that is ripped apart where you don't even know what your plan is. So there's some things to consider. First of all, do you need a contractor? That question really depends on a lot of things. So if you refer to my blog post, I can really kind of guide you through that and helping you make that decision. But it really depends on what you want to do. We obviously needed a contractor for this kind of demolition work, for removing load-bearing walls. It was just a crazy amount of stuff. As you can see, those footings right there, where those holes are, that's actually took like 27 bags of concrete for each of those 3 footings we had to put in order to remove that wall. You might be asking yourself, can I do the work myself? A lot of these things you honestly can, but if you look at what the house looks like when it's ripped apart, it's super intimidating. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to want to either get a general contractor or get, you know, different trades who are going to do their specific work. But really that decision is up to you and what your plans are in terms of how much you're going to do, what you're going to rip apart, what you're actually going to be moving. At this point, looking at these pictures, you're probably assuming that anything you do, you're going to need permitting. That's not necessarily true. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish and the area. If you're not really moving anything, you're not moving the location of fixtures or plumbing, things like that, then you're probably all right, and you know, permits are probably not going to be required. Clearly, what we did required permits. There's a whole different level from what a lot of kitchen remodels or kitchen updates are going to encompass. From here, we jump forward a little bit to where, for our house, it's kind of getting put back together. So some things to consider on your budget is that, you know, things that you may not think about. You know, plumbing. So depending on what you do, you might need rough-in plumbing. You know, so you might need plumbing that's moved even slightly, can have some cost to it. The finished plumbing to make sure that, you know, your fixtures and things are installed properly. Electrical, if you're updating any of your lights, you know, that sort of thing, make sure you have an electrician who knows what they're doing. Tile. So tile and paint are some of the biggest finishes that are going to really make your remodel of your kitchen or anything, you know, really pop. You know, backsplash is huge. You know, the flooring that you choose, the colors that you choose of the paint, and how they go with your cabinets and your countertops. You know, fixtures, you know, your cabinets you buy may or may not include hardware. You know, the hardware you want might be more expensive than what you expected. An air conditioning contractor. One thing that I've learned is that the person who installs the hood over your range isn't an electrician. It's not, you know, anyone else. It's actually an air conditioning contractor. It's someone who's experienced with both the electrical and dealing with venting to the roof. So, you know, when you look at your budget, you know, also consider, you know, things such as your kitchen faucet, stuff like that, all that adds up. Are you going to replace your appliances? Are you going to reuse your appliances? So make sure you think through all of these things and ask yourself these questions before you get into it. Another question you might be asking yourself is, do I need a kitchen designer? Do I need an interior designer? I personally have never worked with one. I'm, kind of lucky because my wife has a pretty good eye for design. I've developed some very limited eye for design. So we've been able to do things and, put some cool things together without needing, that third party. But if you don't have that in you and it's just not what your thing is, then you might want to look into paying someone who does that on a regular basis. However, keep in mind is you can get high design without the extra costs. In our kitchen, I consider it all in one project, but we did our, living room, our dining area, and as well as our kitchen. Some of the things that we did, as you can see, is we did this cool focal point wall. You can see it under the construction process where it was just a bare wood, and then, as we were working on the extra whitewash and the blue over it, so it really came out really awesome. And we've had a ton of compliments on it. People are literally asking, oh, who did that for you? Where did you get that done? And we did that on a budget, for a piece that would probably cost, $5,000. Would be my guess if you're hiring a professional to come do this, separately for you. Costs us a fraction of that to do it ourselves. And it's just an idea that was inspired by something that we found online. One of the other things that we did, as you can see, we did our open duct work. That was a feature we really wanted to give that modern look. Yeah, even though we have low ceilings, it actually made our ceilings look higher because we didn't have to have that drop ceiling where the ducts were running. So we really love that feature. It just took a little bit more work, a little bit more planning to make sure that we were able to get that done. A very important thing that you're going to want to decide in advance is discussing how you're going to control dust while you're having your work done or doing your work yourself, and are you going to live in your house during this time. So those might be sound like easy, simple questions, but they're not. So the dust will get everywhere. So you have to be very diligent and very militant about controlling the dust, or you're going to have the rest of your house covered in dust in a way that you didn't think was possible. You also need to make sure you're discussing that with your contractor or your subcontractors, in whatever situation might apply. If you're going to live in your house and you're going to remodel your kitchen, your life is going to be turned upside down. So regardless of the dust, just your ability to go and get a glass of water, your ability to go use the microwave, all of those things are things that you're going to be limited on, and for an extended period of time. So make sure that you're truly prepared for that. If you have kids, if you have, depending on your situation, it may not even be possible for you. We were out of our house for, a good portion of the construction, but it took longer than expected, and as much a lot of construction does. And so we ended up having to deal with some of the dust and deal with some of the not having a kitchen, and it was not easy. So make sure that you know what to expect and that you're fully prepared for it. I hope that between this video and my blog post, again, that's at happinessisagamble.com, that have some insights, have thought of some things that you otherwise might not have considered, and that you're actually really truly prepared for a kitchen remodel, so you can have that end product that you walk into and you're excited to cook, you're excited to make your coffee, you're excited to just come home and really enjoy.